Hello, everyone. Welcome to Durrett's Take today. Happy Memorial Day to everyone. I wanted to take time to take a shout out to my brother and my relatives who served in the military, and everyone else who's served or is currently serving in the military now to protect our country. I thank them for their service and all that they do for us. So let's get started. I'm going to start with unfortunately some sad news. So former Jazz coach and Bulls player Jerry Sloan died on Friday at the age of 78. Now, it doesn't come too much as a shock because he had health problems, but nevertheless, it's still very, very sad. So, since he played before I was born with the Bulls, I'm not really going to talk about his playing career, although I heard he was kind of like a pit bull, like a very aggressive player, so that kind of reminds me of like, oh, he might be like a Patrick Beverley or something like that. But his time as a coach was outstanding, in my opinion. He made the playoffs mostly every year. He led the Jazz to back-to-back titles with Malone and Stockton. Now you can say it's because of Malone and Stockton, but I also feel the coach needs to get a lot of credit there. And the team that I grew up with when I was younger is the Darren Williams, Carlos Boozer, Okur, Karolinko, that squad. And they were a pretty good squad, but the fact that he's able to lead them to the playoffs every year for them is pretty good. Because what's interesting is that once they all left the different teams, they were not that good at all. So it just shows that he got the best out of his players. Um, in my mind, I feel like Sloan is the GOAT of NBA coaches who never won an NBA title, in my opinion. If you can think of another one, let me know, but I feel like that's the case. Um, he has the fourth most wins of all time. Again, been to two finals appearances against Jordan, unfortunately. Went to the playoffs mostly every year. He helped a small market team become successful, like Greg Popovich has done with like San Antonio, for example, which it's pretty hard to do, but he did a very good job at it. And I send my condolences to all the Sloan family and the Jags organization at this time. So then moving on to some football. Even though the main part of free agency is over and the draft's over, stuff like that, there's still people in free agency that need to sign to different teams. There's still moving parts like Jadavion Clowney, Cam Newton are still unsigned, for example. But there's a couple other pieces that's been filled recently. I want to start off with Joe Flacco. He signed a 1 year deal with the Jets for $1.5 million, but has a sentence of up to $4 million. In my opinion, this is a win-lose situation. It's a win for the Jets, clearly, because now they have a good, competent backup quarterback, which when Sam Darnold went down with mono last year, they did not have a good backup quarterback, so they stunk, and they never. And even though Darnold was able to lead them to 7 wins, which in itself was impressive last year, they weren't really able to recover from that. Because in my mind, if Darnold was healthy during that month that he was out, then the Jets could have contended for that wild card spot. But anyway, so the I know a trend that's starting to happen. So there's a lot of teams that are trying to get themselves a good backup quarterback, and for good reason. Because if your starter goes down, you want to be able to stay afloat or not have the season could be a complete wash. So I wrote down the teams I feel like have good backup quarterbacks. I'm going to start with the Saints. They obviously have one and two in Taysom Hill and James Winston, so they're one of the likely ones to have three. Raiders, they signed Marcus Mariota this past offseason. He'd be a very good backup quarterback. Cowboys signed Andy Dalton recently. He's a good backup quarterback. And some of these backup quarterbacks can even do somewhat good as a starter. Giants, they have Colt McCoy, who I feel like is a very underrated backup throughout his time in the NFL. If he's healthy, he's a good backup QB. Redskins have Kyle Allen. Now, I know Kyle Allen stunk the second half of the season, but he was very good the first half of the season, so he can definitely win you some games. Then the next teams are more just based off assumption. So Philly, Green Bay, Miami, LA, I assume. Hurts, Love, Tua, and Herbert will all be good backup QBs until they eventually become starters. Bears, whether you have full starter and Trubisky starting either or, the backup there would be pretty good. And then now the Jets. So that's basically a third of the NFL teams that have really good backup QBs. So I might miss one, but I feel like that's it. But it wouldn't surprise me if you start to see more and more NFL teams get good backup quarterbacks. But it's technically a lose situation for Joe Flacco, though, because now with this deal, he's basically accepting, yes, now unfortunately I'm not starting anymore. I'm a backup, which I feel like is the case. I mean, with multiple injuries to end the season, and then Denver just wasn't successful really at all last year. So yeah, it doesn't come as a shock to me, but if he's willing to sign this deal, he knows himself that he's a backup. So I mean, even though it's a lose situation for him that he's not starting, at least a team wants him and he's still getting some money. So now moving on to other free agency news, you got running back Carlos Hyde, who in my opinion was the better of the Texans running back squad last year. He signed a 1-year deal with the Seattle Seahawks. Now the Seattle Seahawks signed Devontae Freeman. They sent him a contract offer, but he hasn't taken it yet. And since they just signed Carlos Hyde, I'm seeing that options off the table now. I know Marshawn Lynch in Seattle were in contract discussions, and I guess technically they could still sign Marshawn Lynch because Rashard Penny is probably going to be on IR to start the season before he's healthy again. So he can be that third running back on short yardage situations or just to get into the end zone if you're like at a 2-yard line or something like that. But I feel like once Rashard Penny is healthy again, along with Carson Hyde, that they would probably let Lynch go because I doubt they would carry 4 running backs because that's kind of a lot of running backs to carry. But it wouldn't surprise me because Seattle loves running the ball, but I just don't think that happen. But now when you look at the roster overall, I mean, Russell Wilson, he has Metcalf, Lockett, has Greg Olsen now, pretty good offensive line, and then he already had a good running back Carson, but now he has and Penny, but now he kind of has a good 1-2-3 punch. Like they're so loaded at running back now. So if Carson's having an off day, you can give it to Hyde. If Hyde's having an off day, give it to Carson. Both of them have an off day, and Penny's back being healthy, give it to Penny or something like that. Like, so they're very loaded, and there's a reason why I feel like Seattle can end up making it to the NFC Championship game is because they have a loaded roster. And speaking of Seattle Seahawks, so some very interesting news came out recently. There's been rumors that like Wilson said, "Oh yeah, I would love to have Antonio Brown, AB on the squad," and who wouldn't? I mean, now when you think about it, I doubt AB would play at all this season because I feel like if the NFL allows him back, they're probably going to suspend him for a lot, if not the full season. Also, you can't. I'm not sure if he's all the way there mentally there, but if the NFL doesn't suspend him, if he can play immediately, and Antonio Brown's better mental health wise, then Seattle should totally get him on it. Like they should do everything they can to get him. Because let's imagine Russell Wilson has a true number 1 and AB to throw the ball to, and as I said earlier, with Metcalf, with Lockett, with Greg Olsen as the tight end, a running game, good offensive line, and then they have a pretty good defense on the other side of the ball. If Seattle signed AB, they would win the Super Bowl, in my opinion. They would be my Super Bowl favorites. Or at the very least, go to the Super Bowl, play Kansas City most likely. But I feel like they would win the Super Bowl pretty much automatically, barring injuries. That's how much of a difference AB can bring to Seattle. And AB doesn't have to be like 100% of his full self. He can just, even if he's just like 70 or 80% of his full self, that's enough right there. So I would love it if AB played for them. I feel like that's a very good option right there. Now again, like I said, I don't feel like it will happen because he's probably gonna be suspended or then if they'll not allow him back for a while or he's still not right mentally, stuff like that. But again, the Seattle Seahawks need to do the due diligence there, and if everything can pan out for them, then they should totally sign AB. So I'm going to make the show a little bit shorter today because it's Memorial Day, but thank you all for listening in today. I got a lot more NFL news I want to talk about tomorrow. Again, happy Memorial Day, everyone. Stay safe.